to Go with Heather Gill. I'm Heather Gill, and I have the privilege to talk today with Yulia Brown. She's with GuaranteedRate.com. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Thank you for having me. So, how do you like the weather?
Oh my gosh, the weather's a little chilly, but man, we're on this really cool patio. So if you've never been to this location, it's called the Turkish Cafe. It's in North Plano, right off Preston, real close to 121. And man, this is a cool spot. You got to check it out. I want to hear more about Guaranteed Rate, what you do, and then kind of what got you into doing mortgage.
It's been a journey, and I'm not new to mortgage, but 2020 was an interesting year.
It's still an interesting year,
yeah. Kind of master of the obvious over here. So I'm basically, for 4 years, I've been with another mortgage company, Supreme Lending.
Okay.
Nice company, great people, but the life took me elsewhere.
Right.
And after a little bit of consideration where I wanted to be, I came across Guaranteed Rate and some wonderful guys, and we kind of brainstormed a couple of things, and we decided to do something a little bit outside of the box. So right now I'm working on building the platform, so business development, but it's a little bit bigger than this.
Right.
I also recruit people, and I absolutely love the company.
All right.
Great rates, and a lot of people get confused on whenever you get quoted a rate without having your credit history looked at, your assets looked at, your tax return looked at, you're pretty much shooting in the dark.
Right.
So it's a tough deal, and you get baited on one thing, and then awkward moment. Oh, one more thing. This is what we didn't consider. This is what we didn't look at. We quoted you the market rate, but on your current situation, your rate is not the same as your neighbor got.
Right.
And a lot of people get like uncomfortable with it, and then a lot of misunderstanding happening. So in order to avoid that, when you go shop for a home, before you jump into a car for this beautiful young lady,
before you go shopping with me,
yes, you definitely want to make sure that what's your buying potential? Where are you? Because if you work with someone you trust, when you work with someone that has a great, respectable career, and somebody that's been on the market for a while, knows local market, because there are so many things out there that you will get loan companies that are somewhere in Michigan or somewhere in California. You quote unquote get quoted for a decent rate, but then there are so many things that it pertains to Texas that can totally throw off your entire ordeal. And I remember being a realtor, because before I got to mortgage, I was a realtor. And I got to see the other side of how things are done, and I was confused myself, because as realtors we never knew what is there at stake, what do we need to consider.
There's so many things.
So many things, including how our tax is structured versus, let's say, California or New York. So it's very important to start working with your mortgage professional early on. And that's where my job comes in. I help people, guide them through, see what their needs are, what they're trying to do with their future plans, and we come up with a plan. So you're not just like, oh my God, I want to buy a house next week. Well, the credit score is 580. It's like, but karma said this. Well, credit karma is a different algorithm. So it's uncomfortable, but it's very important to have somebody on your side trying to help you to get the best deal for your specific situation.
No, absolutely, and I like the point that you hit on earlier. You know, you see the advertisements on Facebook and on you just turn on the Weather Channel. You see, I mean, everywhere we're getting inundated with rocket this and rocket that and mortgage this and mortgage that and call this number and whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, it really does serve your best interest when you work local. Because when you're working local, then you're working with somebody who's got local expertise, Texas market, and all that good stuff. So, I mean, I feel like that's just super duper important when you're making such a huge financial decision.
And you want to make sure that also the very important thing during the loan process is not just your loan officer, but also how these loans are processed. Are they shipped somewhere to Michigan, or are they being processed here on Texas soil, where your loan officer can pretty much knock on the door and be like, hey, what's going on with that loan? What's going on with the process? Where are we? And what's your appraiser board looks like? Are you trusting your appraisal management company? It's a very complex process, and you get in $250,000, $500,000, $1 million or more in the loan. So of course it's gonna be very somewhat invasive. I won't say very invasive. It just depends on the situation.
Right.
Paper trail can be fun, but again, if your loan officer knows what they're doing, they'll ask for everything beforehand, and it's just little bits and pieces will be added to the process.
Right on. So work local. She's a great one to call for sure. Now, so you went from real estate to doing the mortgage thing, and you're working with this team, and y'all got some cool stuff coming. So I can't wait to hear when you guys get that going. Call me, and we'll have another one of these because that'll be fun. The market here in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I think for a lot of the country, has just been really kind of crazy in 2020. And on a mortgage side, I know a couple of things have kind of broken loose lately. I think you said something earlier about jumbo rates or the conventional rate or something like that had changed. Can you fill us in on that?
Well, there are quite a few things had changed, and they continue changing as we are still dealing with the whole pandemic ordeal. But the thing is, things slowly actually coming back to normal. And a lot of things that you will see, like jumbo loans or loans that are for investment properties, they might be slightly in higher interest bracket, simply because banks are afraid to loan money right now with the forbearance. They're losing money, people losing jobs, so things are being still stabilized. And plus, this is an election year. We're still in the midst of all of those things.
Do we have a president yet? I don't know.
Oh, Nikki!
It's still up in the air. At least it was at the time of this recording.
Yes, and the thing is, banks are doing the best they can do to accommodate the average consumer, because whatever is happening, our life still goes on. So we want to make sure that people that are shopping for a home, life takes them other places, they want to buy a new home, they want to refinance what they have. Also, pool sales, you pretty much are familiar with that as well. Pool sales went up some crazy percentage, because if you're going to be locked up in your house, you might as well have something to do, which people started building pools and getting their homes more equipped for long-term staying in, not needing for anything, kind of finding something to entertain themselves with. So that's where it goes. So for some time, FHA, conventional loans, they've been going through transitions. And one of the things like DPA, down payment assistance programs like TSHAC, SAP, they've been undergoing some changes as well. Where before the pandemic, you could get the down payment assistance grant for, let's say, with the credit score of 620, where now it's probably 640, where during pandemic it was as high as 680. So it's also important to know what your score is. And as we were joking around about Credit Karma and other things, there's one thing to remember, that your credit cards, Credit Karma, or any other source that's not based on the FICO algorithm will be entirely different from what you will be dealing with the mortgage broker, because we're looking at things differently than your car dealership would.
Exactly.
So it's very important to start early on. I can't stress that enough, because you start that, you eliminate so much headache. because there are things that you may not know exist on your credit report.
No, for sure. And to her point here, and it's a great point, the market is so tight, especially if you're looking, with, let's just say below 500 in Dallas-Fort Worth. If you're looking below that price point, very competitive. And if you walk in looking at a house and you don't have your credit ready to go, you may not be buying that house. And that's just the way it is. So yeah, getting that ready sooner than later makes a lot more sense.
Yes, you're thinking about the house you just saw today. Somebody saw it yesterday and making an offer on it. So, and the real pre-qualification process will take a couple of days, because especially if you're self-employed, you want to dot all I's and cross all T's, because most of us are self-employed. We are self-employed. So with that said, we write off things. What we think we make is not necessarily what's on the paper, because there are other expenses that come with your business. So it depends on what you write off, depends on what your bottom line looks like. That's what your pre-qualification income will be. It's a challenge, but with someone holding your hand during the process, it's doable. It's not as complex as it sounds. It will be a lot more simplified for the consumer, but to give a whole transparent perspective on this, this is pretty much what's involved.
But it
might take 6 months to some people, or a year.
Depends on your situation,
But depends when you start. If you are serious about buying a house, talk to your loan professional right now.
Let's transition. Let's ask some bonus questions here. So I know that you're you introduced me to this incredible little place here in Plano. So I could only imagine you've got your top 3 spots that you like to go to. I want to know your top 3, let's just say restaurants or places to go around town.
I love Turkish Cafe and Lounge. I've met the owner about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Super nice. It's a family-owned business.
Okay.
Very nice family, authentic food. Hookah. I love hookah.
They got it all here, I'm telling you.
Fun fact about Yulia. Loves hookah. So this is one spot. The second place, Loki Pokey joint in Addison, off of Beltline. Amazing spot.
Really?
Phenomenal. The way they cure their fish, you don't have that distinctive fishy taste in your mouth. Oh, exquisite. Also privately owned. I try to stay with privately owned places to help our local business owners. Yoshi Shabu Shabu. It's basically a Japanese concept.
Well, there you have it. You got 3 new spots to try out. And I love it that you're sticking with local mom and pop.
That's my favorite thing.
That's awesome. So, Yulia, what would you say would be words of wisdom that you would share with people watching today?
I'd say stay true to yourself.
Okay.
Stay true to what you believe in, what your vision is. You will always run into naysayers. You will always run into people that think less of you or try to make you believe you're less of who you are and what you are. But if you do right by people, you do right by yourself, you wake up, you smile at yourself, and you respect the person you see in the reflection, that's all that matters. The rest is the journey to be written.
I love it. No, I love it. Be true to yourself. That's great. Very good. So, Yulia, if somebody was interested in working with you, getting that mortgage, getting that refinance, whatever it is, how would they get in touch with you?
They can always reach me on my cell phone. 214-802-7399. You can email me at Yulia, Yula.Brown, BROWN, @rate.com.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for watching this episode. And I'm looking forward to working with you, working with you guys or anyone. Or if you just need a word of advice, I'll be more than happy to help.
All right. Well, I got places to go and people to see, so goodbye for now.
Goodbye.